Today, on the workbench, I've got I've been looking forward to this one for a while. Let me turn this around. That way you can see that there. This is a Sunset Models. It's brass. It is a 210 steam locomotive. This is one of the members of the club, and we're going to be putting a Tsunami decoder in this, a TSU 2200. This is for steam models. It's let's see, well, let me turn it around there. That way you can see that decoder. PN 884002. I've got a keep alive, or a current. Soundtraxx calls them current keepers. So it is a 810140. I've got a 28mm speaker that I'm going to put it in the tender. 810153. And I've got the baffle kit for that speaker. It is 810110. So let me pull this out of the plastic here. We get a look at it. This is unpainted. I'm not going to paint it. I'm just going to install the decoder in it. And it doesn't have any lights, as you can see. So I'm going to put LEDs in this. At least that's the plan for right now. So there's that. Let me get this tender out. Nice little model, nice and heavy. So we'll start taking this apart. Let me get this box out of the way. And we'll bring our tender in here. And I'll try and zoom in on this. And I'm going to put the decoder and everything. I'm going to try to put everything in the tender itself. And hopefully the only thing we'll have to do to the locomotive is put the LED in it. But it is a Sunset Models 210. It's already got a KD coupler mounted. And so our first thing, actually the first thing I want to do is pull out this little piece of styrofoam, set that on. That way we won't be working just on the padding here. And we'll go ahead and we'll start taking this apart. Looks like we've got 4 Phillips screws. So break out the Phillips screwdriver. Start on this. And this, I think, is probably, this is going to turn into a rather lengthy video, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do it in parts. I may do that if it gets too long. Then again, this could be an easy installation. I hope it's an easy installation. And this is kind of a as we go thing. So let me open up the decoder. Let's see. Open this up. And then we'll get everything in place. And see what kind of room we're going to have. So there's our decoder, Tsunami2. And I'm hoping, or what I'm planning, is I'll put that right on the side, just like that right there. We'll tuck that in nice and neat. Tuck that in on that side. And then we'll get our current keeper open. Instructions for the current keeper, and then here's our current keeper, and you can see that's got a plug on it. That'll plug right into that, but I want to put that on the opposite side, mount it to the side just like that. And if you've noticed, I'm trying a new camera angle here. I don't know if it's going to be better, any worse. I'm actually on, over here on this side, and the camera is right there. So I've got the camera pointed back at myself. If that makes any sense. But anyway, this current keeper, it also comes with 2 pieces of shrink wrap. So, and then as for the speaker, think I'm going to mount the speaker here in the tender, and I've got a piece of styrene. After this is all mounted, that'll go in, and we'll put a fake cold load on it. Well, I'm not, the owner is going to put a fake cold load on that. So he's made that template for himself. But let's see what this speaker will look like here. Just a real quick glance at it. So we'll have plenty of room in there for our speaker. And then, like I say, I've got the baffle kit for it, and we'll figure out our baffle kit. So we'll have plenty of room to put everything. So this should be a fairly straightforward install. Plug and play some of it. So now that we've got that out of the way, that is our little introduction to this project. Now, we can get into the meat of this. We'll have to get out some extra wire. And as luck would have it, I don't have any right here on the bench except for some, I've got some red wire, but I'm going to use black. So I'll have to dig out some black wire, and we'll get our pickups from the truck. I'll have to drill a hole in here to bring this. Actually, I won't have to drill a hole. Oh no, that's the screw holes. So but that won't be too difficult to do. I'll just have to remember which side my insulators are on. I don't know if you can see that down in there or not. There's insulators right there on that axle. So this will pick up off of the fireman's side right here. And then the locomotive will pick up off of the engineer's side. So let's see. Let me get out break out a meter here. check for continuity. Okay, this is my insulated side. My speaker on that meter must be going bad. I don't know if you could hear that or not. It's not beeping anymore. It's just turned into a... Let me get my other meter. Maybe the battery's just going dead on that one. Okay. Put that away. And I'll get some black wire. Okay, let's see. Strip just a little bit of that off. Break out the flux. Go end up soldering to that. Of course, it really doesn't matter. I could solder anywhere to that. Tip clean. Clean that tip a little more. Solder in there. tip a little cleaner. Not having any luck right there. There it is. Just being impatient. A little time to heat up. Okay. So I've got the keep alive here, current keeper. I'll go ahead and plug it in. I can get the wires out of the way. Nice and easy. Little screwdriver here. Make sure that's all the way in. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to mount, get the screws out of the way, I'm going to mount this board. Let's see, I am going to, I'll mount that on this side. It'll be the engineer's side. And I'll use double-sided tape for that. And then we'll put this over here on this side. Those are out of the way of everything. I'll get some. There, we've got our current keeper, our board. Do a little bit of wire management here. right in there. Must be, there's something holding that out. There. Okay. There's our board. On the engineer side, there's our current keeper. On the fireman side, we've got all this mess to fool with. That mess to fool with. I'm looking at that rear light there. So I may add a light to that. So now, let's see, where are we at here? Okay. This is going to be our black wire from the decoder, and actually I wouldn't even have needed to put that on there because this one's long enough. Maybe I'll do that. I'm going to do that, pull that off. The less wires, the better. That way it'll save some space. And if I get that heated up. So there's our first connection. Now I'll have to take this locomotive apart just a little bit. That way I can get the wire up to the headlight. Get to the motor. So, but I think back here on the tender, let's see now, my two purple are speaker wires. Well, I've got a purple. Yeah, two purple. The rest are, the other two are different functions. Let's see what functions those are. The brown, that's that one. There's my two purple, there's the speaker. And the brown and white is function 6. The green and white is function 5. And I don't think that we'll be using those. So let's see what else we can do here before we move on to the locomotive. I know that's a big jumble right now. Okay, let's see. Now I think for right now I've gone as far as I want to on the tender. We've got the board installed, our ground on. So let's go ahead and take the body off of this locomotive here. And I've got some screws back in here. See if we can't get this apart. So that's that end, I believe. Now, I'll take this screw out, and then there's two little ones up here, so I'm going to take this front pilot off. See if I can move that back in here into the frame so you can see that. Don't want to lose that. So there's that. Now I believe I have to take this screw out and these two up here. Let me take these two small ones out. afraid of. I'll take that off. I'll pull this out. All my linkage and everything is going to come off. And I do not want that. I was hoping I'd just be able to pull the boiler itself off. Now, let me see. A fairly long screw. Okay, that works. There we go. Get the boiler apart, the body, everything stays nice and tight in there. Got a really nice Mishima motor. So, or Mishima, I'm not sure you have Mishima. Anyway, all right. So that is our body. I'll end up there with my turn that back around the way it's supposed to be. I wouldn't have had to take those out at all. So let's do that. Let me put this off to the side. Whatever I can leave together, I am going to leave together. So there's that. That's going to be impossible unless I have that started. There's that one. Grab another one here. There we go. Okay, so there's that. Now, what I'll end up having to do is go directly to the motor. It's a nice detail with that brake. That's a little loose. Okay, so there, we're good with that. Now we'll have to put our motor wires on. I'll disconnect that. That way I won't be grounded anymore to the body. Okay. And they do have those labeled, if you can see that. Here's the positive side. There's a little mark there, and that's the negative side on the bottom. So that will correspond with our red and black. I'll end up running my red wire up in here, and then this will be black wire down in here. So I guess the next thing would be, and I think what I'll do is I'll make that wire, I'll make both of them black. That way when they run out back into the tinder, they won't be as noticeable as a red and a black wire. That wouldn't be, I don't think that would look very well. So that's what we'll do with that. So I'll get some wire ready, and then we'll go from there. But I think I'm at a good stopping point right now. Okay, moving along here. We are going to start wiring up the motor here. And what I'll end up doing, let's see, I need to remove this off of the bottom of the motor. So we'll get that out of the way. And that is tiny, tiny, tiny. Hope I get that. Yeah. That on there. Ah. What are the odds that started? Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. So, make sure that's tight. Put that away. Okay. Now I'm going to use that eyelet there here in a minute. I want to take the solder off of that. Okay. while I'm here, put a little flux in here. Okay, there's that. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to run red wires, or black wires. What did I do with my black wire? Here it is. Okay. I am going to run black wire for everything, for all three of these connections that I've got to make. That way you won't see the red or the orange or gray or whatever color. Okay, there's that one. And I'll leave that long. Now I'm going to solder that to that eye I just removed. And that is going to be our wire over here, because the front of this motor is what makes the right hand side connection. So I'm going to take this black wire with the eye on it. When I run it back to the decoder, it'll be hooked to the red wire. So I want to remove, actually I'm going to remove both of these for right now because I need to flip this motor over so I can solder my other wire to it, to the bottom of the motor, that is. Okay, there's that. Heat it up, out of the way. Now I can flip that motor back over. I'll get my screws started. There's one. Now this end with the eye. Yeah. I'm going to have to flip this over to where I can trying to work upside down and backward here. Well, let me turn this thing around because I am right-handed and I'm trying to do it with my left. There. I'll do that. Well, come on, catch. There, it caught. Well, I thought it did caught. The motor up too high. Okay. There's that. I've got that attached right in there. Like I say, that will be that'll be our red when we go back. Let me cut off my extra that I have on both. Okay. So there's that. Now, to mark these, oh, okay, you can see what I'm doing there. What I want to do with that is the long one on the bottom is my negative, and the negative side is gray. So this long one that I have in my hand will hook to the gray wire on the decoder. Let me strip it off. Well, actually, it's going to be long, but I'm going to strip it off. That way I'll know. And I'll strip this one off. The top one, the short. So I'm going to write that down. The bottom of the motor, gray, will be my long wire, long stripped wire, and then the top orange will be the short stripped, and then the one that is not stripped is my red on the decoder. And I've got that written down. So now let me bring that around the tender. And I think I'm gonna hook this up temporarily just to try it here at some point. I've already got my black for the decoder hooked to that's the left hand side. Yep. And so my red it's up here where we can see what we're doing. Okay, my red will be the not stripped wire. So I'm going to have plenty of this. And I'm going to have plenty of room in this tender, so I think I'm just going to leave everything long. Well, actually, I'll cut that off. That way, yeah, I'll cut this one. I'll cut my red. That's stripped. Some flux. Tin that up. I've got a couple little pieces of shrink wrap. Let's see now. Okay. Strip that lead. Get that fluxed up. Clean that off a little bit. Get this out. There's that side. I've already got my left side hooked up, so we'll go with the top. Strip that back a little bit more. Piece of shrink tube. Bit of flux. Clean the tip off again. Then my top wire is the orange. So I'll strip that off. Trim it down, I mean. There's our shrink wrap. Now I just got to hook up the gray. That. Okay, there's that. myself a little extra. Cut me another piece of shrink tube. I'm out of the black, so I'll cut a piece of the clear. Kind of like the clear better. I can see with, at least so I've got the connection centered in there. I mean, it really doesn't matter. So now right there, the way that is now, that is ready to run after I put everything together. But I think I am going to test it just to see. So I'll be back in a second. All right, let's see. I've got this placed on a small piece of test track. I've got it wired in, so now I guess this is this is it. We're going to plug it in and hope for the best. Nah, it should be all right. It'll be good. Now you can hear some of my other stuff running there. So you can see that it is working. And that's one of my diesels running. So I need to, let me unplug this. I'll unplug that. I have taken that off of the track. Okay, let me plug this back in. With it runs really smooth. So at least we know that it works. So now all I've got to do is wire up the lights, or light, in the speaker. And I may do this speaker just so I can hear it, see what it sounds like. I've got a 28mm speaker. And the baffle. And then we'll use our purple. Let's see. We'll end up running these through our case. Nope. Well, I'm just, well, let's see, wait a minute. Before I do that, I need to drill a small hole here in the tender. To run that wire through. Change out the collet. I'm hoping I can do this with this little pin vise. If not, I'll go down and get the drill. Actually, why don't I do? Have my Dremel sitting here beside of me. There's that. To do some serious wire management. Okay, there's my 2 speaker wires. Run those through that plate. Strip that off. Okay, now we're back to flux. Oh, need to put a little flux on the speaker here. Tip off. And I've done this before too. Forgot to put the baffle on before I start soldering things up. Let me tin this other side. Okay. There's the speaker hooked in. And like I say, I want to test this before we get real far. I'm going to see what it sounds like. Like I say, real crude. Okay. Set that back there. Hook my test leads up again. Okay. Get this all hooked up. And there'll have to be some adjustment to this. So stop that. And you can hear the keep alive. I've got that unhooked. Okay, there the keep alive went off. All right. So now we are to the point where I can do the light. And I'll have to get all this tucked back in. But I want to unhook that. Okay. All right, I'm going to take a little break right here. Okay, for the last few minutes here, I've kind of got some things straightened out, doing a little bit of wire management. Getting some things tucked in. I've got my blue and my white wire out that I'll use for my front headlight. Right now I'm going to put a small zip tie here just to kind of keep this under control. Then I can either tape that down But like I say, right now, this is kind of just a temporary. Yep, I have to pull this off here so I can see what I'm looking at. And I think, well, I'm going to have to cut a notch in here so my wires will have a place to sit. So let's do that. And actually I'm going to have to get the Dremel out to do that. And I'll just, I'm not going to cut that, I'm going to put a small sanding drum in here. And I'll just sand an area. And that should be plenty. Pull that out of the way. And when I'm done, these the blue and white wire won't be sticking out like that. Okay. Now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and work on a light for the front. And I'll have to drill that out. Drill the headlight out, that is. Let's see. Pick some of these little screws up here so I don't lose them. A piece of test track out of the way. I need to remove this weight. There's the lead weight. Goes in there. And I think, yeah, there's plenty of room. I can run the wire over top. So I'm going to take and drill a hole there in that headlight. Okay. I don't know if I'll be able to show this or not. Well, if I had a sharper bit, take that out. Put another bit in here. Pile of bit. Okay, I'm through that. Well, that'll make it easier. We'll just take it off. Find a pair of pliers that aren't serrated. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can. I've got the hole drilled in that. Now I'm going to make up an LED so I can put in there. That screw. I need to put that screw in here, because if I don't, I will forget where it goes. Okay, because I don't think I have any LEDs. I've got this strip that I usually use. I don't know if I have any made up already or not. I'll have to look here. Okay, now I've made up the LED, and I don't know if you can see this real well or not, but on these surface mount LEDs that I use, let me see if I can clean this off a little bit here. There is a green triangle, and the triangle points left and right, let's say. So the blue back here, and I really wish you could see this, but I can't focus in on that enough. But on this side back here is the flat side of this LED. That is the positive side, and the pointed end is the negative. So I've got a little, and I soldered this up off camera because this would have been really hard to do. It's hard to do right now, just kind of. And what I'm doing is just trimming the excess off. So there's our surface mount LED, and these are, I believe they're a warm white. I got them off of eBay. And I think there's 50 of them. They're like $5 a piece, something like that. They're not very expensive. But I've got that made up. So now let me zoom out here and I'll show you what I'm going to do with this. I'll take and I'll test this before I do anything at all. But I've got some micro crystal clear. It's the same people that make the what is this called? Micro set and micro sol. But it's from Microscale, and this dries completely clear. So what I'll end up doing after I test this, let me zoom back out here, is, and I've got the wires run through the light also. So what I'll do is I'll put the crystal clear inside the light housing, and then I'll pull this LED into it, and then I'll cover the front of it also, and that will be, and it, like I say, it dries clear. So what I'm trying to do right now is just bend this 90 degrees Okay, so I've got that bent, and I'll pull that through there, and that'll take care of our light. So let me let me test this thing. I will put a resistor on this, and I'll probably put I'll put a 2000 ohm resistor on it. So I'll be back. Alright, back here today, and if you have watched up till now, you saw me after I got everything hooked up and tucked back in to the tender. I was getting ready to put in the headlight and whatnot. Well, I put it on the track and tested it, and you could hear it. You could hear something wrong, and I knew there was something wrong with it. So I went back and I removed all the wiring from the tender. But what it turned out to be, and of course the other problem you saw with it was it started to move automatically. I had no control over it. Well, I did have some speed control, but it would start out, the timing was off, everything was off. So I went back through and I found one problem, and the one problem was right here. This top motor mount for the positive side was actually grounding itself out on the motor case. When I had soldered the lead on it, I accidentally soldered it and it was touching the case. So that was the problem with that. So I went back and changed that, and now it's working really well. So, but what I want to do now, and I'll show you this, you might be able to see that. I did go ahead and put a small LED in there, and I've got that wired up, and I've got a 480 ohm resistor on it. I started out with a 2000, and that was way too small. So I'll go ahead and get everything tucked back up into the tender, and then when I come back, we'll test run this, or we'll get it all back together and then we'll test run it. So we'll see how that works out. All right, I've got this back together now. Got all my wires back into place, and I've got it set up on a little test stand here. And now I'll turn or hook the power up. I'm using my NCE power cab and some jumpers. So we'll go ahead and we'll put some power onto the track. Okay, so I've got the speaker back here in the tender, and you can hear it started. So let's go through some of this. I'm going to turn the headlight on, and when I turn the headlight on, you can hear the dynamo turn on. And I will have to go back in and probably adjust some CVs just for the sound levels and maybe the light brightness, and I don't know if you can see that because you can dim that headlight. So, but anyway, well, let's go through some of this. I've got the headlight on. Here's our bell. And then we'll go through there's our horn, there's our short horn. There's cylinder cocks. That is our cutoff or our drift enable. Same thing. Like I said, 7 is our dimmer. If I hit F8, that's mute. I'm going to turn that back on. F9. That's our grade crossing. And then we'll go up to let's see, F10. That's our blowdown. Let's see, F11. It's our independent brake, train brake. So we've got all kind of options here. There's our uncoupling, that's F13. F14 is our switching mode, that'll cut your speed in half. Let's see, F15, that's our wheel change. F16 is our water stop. And then we've got F17. F18. F19. Now let's see what F22 is. That's some cab chatter. That F23. Okay. Well, let's start it up here. And you can still hear the cab chatter back there in the back. So that completes this install. Really happy about the way this came out. It does have a keep alive in it, so right now I'll remove the power. And let's see. It says in the paperwork that you should get 10 seconds out of it, and that's probably with everything running. Right there's 10 seconds on it. Let's just go and see how long it'll take with just the sound. There's 20. So we got about 23 seconds out of it with that. So, thanks for watching.